All right. Good evening and good night, and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimba, a.k.a. Christian, alongside Biggie Soup. Biggie Soup is on special assignment tonight. Be back with us tomorrow night for sure. I just want to say real quick that this is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until. We do have a telephone number, 340-201-9005. But most importantly, go to our Facebook page. It's Your Perspective Talk Show. I've also shared it to my personal page, which is David Christian. You can go on that page as well and pick up the stream from there. I've also shared it to a couple of the groups that I belong to. You know, we have these think tanks and Voice of the VI. I've shared this feed through there as well. So hopefully, if you're tuned in, you're watching, because we do have a special guest in the studio tonight. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Maggie's Party Decor and Supersonic Computer Services. Thanks for supporting us. I also want to give a quick shout out to CHS Class of 1982. Big ups to that crew. That's the year that I represent as well. So as we roll out here, we do have a special guest in the studio. Let me put him on camera there. Where is he? There he is. There he is right there. What's happening? Wave to the crowd, man. You're streaming out live to the entire world, but hopefully, most importantly, to everybody that's here in the Virgin Islands, because you are running for office here. We have Angel. Is that right? Angel Bolques?
Bolques.
Bolques. You get that little twang there. Bolques Jr. Okay, man. Thanks for coming into the studio tonight. You are running for senator at large.
That is correct.
That is correct. So let's get into this. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I guess your experience, what you've been doing over the last couple of years. I did get a chance to read some stuff on your Facebook page, but let our listeners know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. And first and foremost, greetings in the name of the Most High. Give thanks for life. And I want to say good night to everyone who's listening in the listening audience this evening. My name is Angel Bolques Jr. I was born on St. Croix.
Okay.
I was raised on St. John.
Okay.
And I've much of my professional life I've worked on St. Thomas.
Okay.
So I'm sort of like the epitome of all around a Virgin Islander in a sense.
Okay.
So I've kind of been doing the jump along to each island, and we're all Virgin Islanders at the end of the day,
Yes.
But so I think I've been blessed to experience a lot of each island, all three islands,
Okay.
So I think that I have that in my favor, and we're all Virgin Islanders, and we all are particularly beautiful and great, powerful, strong people.
Okay.
And I believe that we are destined for great things, but let me get into talking about myself, which I don't usually do too well because I don't blow my horn that loud,
Okay.
I'm not one of those kind of people. I'm more of a humble person. But like I was saying, I was born on St. Croix.
Okay.
I lived on St. Croix up until about 7 or 8 years of my life.
Okay.
I was raised up in Peter's Rest. My grandparents are still alive, thank God for that. And they live right there in Peter's Rest as well. I went to Lou Muckle School in my elementary days. And then when my parents divorced, I moved to St. John. And for my mother, I was moving back to St. John because she moved to St. Croix in her teenage years. So that's how her and my father met.
Okay.
And were able to offspring 5 of us.
Okay. Okay.
So we moved back to St. John. And much of my life, I'm pretty much a product of St. John. So,
Okay.
St. John is a very small place. It's a small community. So when you're raised up in small communities, you learn a lot about morals and values and integrity. So I think that I have a lot of that to offer in my personality, being raised on St. John,
Mm-hmm.
So I also went to school on St. John. I went to Guy Benjamin School,
Okay.
which has been closed down now for a while now.
Okay.
It's one of the oldest schools on the island. And then I went to Julius E. Sprout School
Okay.
on St. John. And then I moved on to Ivana Idorican High School on St. Thomas. So I had to catch the boat every morning over to St. Thomas. Every morning.
Okay.
Waking up 5 in the morning just to
Okay.
get ready to go to school and
Yeah.
catching the bus, going on to the boat and
Yeah.
going
making
over
sure
to
you get
St.
there on time.
Yeah. It's quite a hassle, to be honest, and kids are still doing it today.
I was going to ask you, so that's still happening, right?
It's still happening.
Okay.
It's still happening.
Okay.
I'd really love to see a high school on St. John, to be honest with you.
Okay.
There is one. It's a private school.
Okay.
Which I also happen to work there as a teacher.
Okay.
I've also been a teacher in my professional life at Gift Hill School on St. John.
Okay.
I was the computer technology teacher there and also the head of technology when I was there.
Okay.
For the school. So I handle a lot of the Title V. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Title V, but it's
No.
a government program which the federal government gives grant monies to the Department of Education to fund and purchase like computers and technology, Promethean boards and,
Okay.
and projectors, and kind of like trying to step into 21st century
with the
curriculum.
technology, yeah.
Yeah, so there's each school has a head
Okay.
who runs that department to make sure that everything is in compliance and inventory and so forth and so on. So
Okay.
I was the head of that while I was at Gift Hill School.
Okay.
But I'd love to see a public school on St.
St.
John.
John,
I'd
okay.
really love to see that. And if I do get into Senate, I'm going to push for that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So I went to Eudora Ken. I graduated in '96 from there, and I took some time off after that.
Okay.
And then I moved on to Georgia, which I lived there for about 10 years.
Okay.
And I went to Georgia and I studied business administration. I also studied graphic arts,
Okay.
marketing, things like that.
Okay.
I also worked in the airline industry
Okay.
for customer service. I wasn't a pilot.
Okay.
But yeah, so I learned a lot of customer service.
Okay.
I was a supervisor in customer service for AirTran Airways.
Okay.
So I did that for about maybe 5 years of the 10 years that I was up there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was a good experience as well.
Okay. So why are you running? I mean, you know,
Well-
what was the inspiration for you to want to run for office?
Well, you know, I just recently made 40 years, and I guess we all, you know, they say midlife crisis is coming up.
Okay.
So I think that I've been seeing and watching so many things happen around me, and I've complained.
Okay.
I've made noise about it. I've spoken to people. You know, it gets kind of tiring when you, and I'm not saying that the people who are in office are not doing a good job. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I'm just a bit tired of complaining, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a big complainer.
Yeah.
And I felt that I feel like I can also have a solution to offer,
Okay.
you know, or propose a solution to offer.
Okay.
To be well, to say it better.
Okay.
I never knew that I was going to get into, people say politics, but I don't want to say politics because I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a representative for the people.
People. I got you.
I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. Politics is a game as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
And I'm not
Okay.
here to play games.
Okay.
So I decided that I wanted to take a step, you know, in the right direction.
Okay.
And to make a change, because if you want to make change, you have to be in a position of change.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Okay. So what were you doing? You know, when this revelation came over you that, hey, you know, I want to do this. I mean, were you at the beach? You at home? I mean, what were you doing when that light bulb went off that said, you know what, I want to do this. Let me go ahead and start the process to get this to get me rolling in that direction.
Yeah. Good question. And what I was doing was probably looking into my son's eyes.
Okay.
You know, and I think that we learn so much from the children. I think that they change us. They change us whether we like it or not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's very important to secure our futures, not only just our own future, but our children's future.
Yeah.
We have to take steps towards securing their future.
Okay.
And not only just him, but I've worked in the public sector also
Okay.
for about 5.5 years, I believe. 5.5 years. I've my last position, which I stepped down from temporarily because I'm running for office.
Yes.
I am the St. Thomas and St. John District I'm the administrative assistant to the St. Thomas and St. John District Board of Elections.
Okay.
So I work directly for the St. Thomas and St. John District Board of Elections.
Okay.
And I worked there for about 5.5 years.
Okay.
And I stepped down from there, and I've actually had a passion now for public service. It's really great. You meet so many new people, so
Okay.
many awesome, great people
Okay.
along the way.
Okay.
And I don't mean like just based on position. I mean anybody can walk in the office who wants to register to vote, and I can technically deal with them and learn so much from them just by talking to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You meet so many great people
Okay.
when you're in the public sector.
Okay.
You know, and we have to treat them with respect.
Yeah.
And give them great customer service. You know, I pride myself in this type of behavior.
Okay.
So along the way, I've met a really great set of people along the
that
way.
come. Okay. So let me ask you a question. You mentioned earlier that you were just, I guess, complaining, and I guess you were complaining about the way things are in the Virgin Islands. So what more specifically, what were some of your frustrations?
GERS.
Okay.
You know, as a government employee myself, and when I came,
Well, don't go into great detail.
Okay.
Because we're going to talk about that in your platform. But just on
Okay.
the top, just what was some of your daily complaints? You said GRS.
yeah, GERS was affecting me
Okay.
because I wasn't able to provide for my family the way that I would have liked to provide, because it was cutting into, it was taking a chunk of what I needed to.
Yeah, to deal with.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of issues in the government concerning healthcare,
Okay.
education as well, being that I was an educator
Educator.
for some time.
Okay.
We weren't paying our teachers what they deserve.
Okay.
We even had to fly teachers in from different countries to work here.
Yes.
Because we had a shortage of teachers.
Teachers, yes.
You know, that just slaps me right in the face and wake me up.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so these are some of the things that I was seeing manifest in our community, and they just did not sit well
with you.
know,
Okay, I got you.
personally.
Okay, so let's get into your platform now. And you mentioned education. So kind of give us a little bit. You said 21st century curriculum transforming vocational
Career,
careers, agribusiness, and technical education.
yeah.
So when we talk about education, you know, the teachers are underpaid. You know, we just got hit by 2 hurricanes, and so the school system is a little in disarray. I'm not quite sure how that's all going to pan out, because summer gets ready to start here in a couple of weeks, and then we got 3 months before school starts again.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not even sure how that's all going to pan out. I hope it pans out well, because if it doesn't, the only people that are getting hurt are the children.
That's right.
that are supposed to be on the way to school. But more specifically, when you talk about 21st century curriculum, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's no secret that we have been lacking in education here in the Virgin Islands for quite some time.
Okay.
And we haven't developed a full curriculum, for one. And I believe that's probably the first thing that we needed to do a long time ago.
Okay. So when you say a curriculum, so the schools don't have like
An
a daily
official-
plan of what they teach the students?
I'm not saying that. I'm
Okay.
not saying that they don't have a daily plan. We have some exceptional teachers here in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
They work hard. Unfortunately, they're not being paid what they're worth.
Okay.
And I hope that we can change that.
Okay.
But they do have a plan. Trust me.
Okay.
They do have a plan.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that we don't have the tools for them to work properly.
Okay.
We don't have that.
Okay.
And we need to facilitate our teachers with the tools that they need, so that they can instill the educational values into our children.
Okay. And tools being books, papers, pen, and you mentioned the, I guess, I call them electronic whiteboards. I forget the
Promethean boards.
That's what you're
They are
talking about?
We have those. We
Okay.
have those. But when I say 21st century learning, we're talking about changing how we learn.
Okay.
You know, education has been the same since probably the 50s or even before that. There hasn't been any astronomical change in education.
Okay.
It's almost as if it's the same thing.
Okay.
You know, when you go to college, then it's like you wake up, especially when you're from the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
When you go to college, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What's all of this?
Yeah.
You know, like you wake up when you go on the mainland and you go to college.
Yeah, you see what's going
Because
on.
it's like a spike
Yeah.
of technological advancement in the educational field.
Okay. And
in
we're lacking that
comparison.
here.
And we're lacking that, right?
Okay. Okay.
You know, we need to push for more transformational educational. We need to have vocational programs for our children.
Okay.
We need to push for agribusiness.
Okay.
Because I think St. Croix itself is a huge agricultural hub, amongst other things. I
Yes.
think St. Croix has a lot to offer, but we're not tapping into it the way that we should.
Okay.
You know, we're focusing on St. Thomas, which there's no problem with that, but St. Croix is sort of like getting left behind. I know that's a whole other conversation. We're sticking on education right now. But agribusiness is something that we need to push for so that we can create streams of revenue through agriculture so that people can use, the children should learn about this from now.
Okay.
Because we want our children to stay here. Okay, we want them to go to UVI. I want UVI to also, actually I went to UVI today and I met with Mr. Hendrickson,
Okay.
who is a CPM doctor at UVI. So he teaches public managers, public management at
Okay.
UVI. And we had a very in-depth conversation about education, amongst other things. And,
Okay.
and he really instilled on me a lot of great ideas
Okay.
for education
Okay.
that can be implemented into 21st century curriculum as well.
Okay.
So I want to work with UVI, not only just to work with UVI, but UVI should be working with the public schools
public
as
school
well.
system, yeah.
You know, hand in hand.
Okay.
We also need to have placement for these children, even out of high school, even if it's a temporary placement. I do know that the Human Services Department does have a few programs where they create like summer jobs for the kids and stuff like that. So I'm happy for that. But I
Okay.
mean, like when they come out of college, they also need to have job placement
Job
after
placement.
they get their degrees and so forth, you know?
Okay.
So that's what I mean by 21st century curriculum.
Okay. And so you talk about technical education. So I'm always a little unclear as to, because I know when I went to Central, there was technical or vocational classes that you could take. I didn't take them. I took business, what they call business prep. Because at
Okay.
the time, my mindset was, you know, in a sense on maybe becoming a business person. So I took those business. But I know Soup, he took AC, HVAC kind of stuff. So we don't have that in the schools now.
I
Where
believe-
where a high school student gets in ninth grade and he takes the math, English, reading, and writing, but also his sixth class is HVAC, or it's college prep, or if it's a girl, maybe she wants to be a seamstress. We don't have nothing like that now.
Well, for me to say that and not have went to every single public school
Okay.
would not look good for me.
Okay.
I am not afraid to tell you that I do not know if we have that.
Okay.
Okay. But if we do, I would love someone to please abreast me of that information.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But the last time I did some research, which would have been last year,
Okay.
early last year.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything, and I really didn't call every single public school.
Okay.
So, and there are gonna be things that I'm not abreast of.
Yes.
And I would love for people, I'm an open person. I'm not afraid for people to come to me and tell me, hey, by the way, this is actually offered,
Yeah.
This is something that actually really exists.
Okay. Okay.
And that makes my job easier.
Yes. Okay.
know,
So you obviously are in favor. I mean, if the school system didn't have it, you are definitely in favor of getting something in the school, some kind of program where a ninth grader can along with the math, reading, and writing, could take something like plumbing or AC or auto mechanics.
Yes, because I'm in favor of enhancing our children.
Okay.
And not every child is going to be a doctor.
Okay.
There are some children that are better with their hands than others, and they may become mechanics, a diesel mechanic, jet plane mechanic, army machinery mechanic. It could be, there's probably 200 different types of
Yeah.
mechanics out there.
Yeah.
So we don't want to leave anyone behind.
Okay.
But, learning is experience. That's all it really is. And some people learn better by just experience. Some people don't learn well with a book.
Yeah.
And some people just can't regurgitate information.
Yeah.
So in some places, a teacher says something and they want you to tell whatever, repeat what they said.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now you're learning.
Yeah.
And some different types of educations just don't resonate towards that type of education.
Okay.
Like Montessori and so forth.
Okay.
So, there's so many different ways of learning. you
Okay.
know. All I'm saying is that we need to step it up.
Okay.
We should have already developed a full curriculum.
Okay.
We should be implementing more technology in the schools.
Okay.
We should be creating more vocational programs, more technical programs. We should even be focusing on agricultural business.
Yeah.
We have the land on St. Croix to do it. What are we waiting for?
Good question.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah. So the other part of the whole thing of I guess technical education to me is like it's in high school, ninth grade, and then someone goes through and graduates high school. But what about technical education after high school? I mean, is it possible that hopefully, when you get in, that you guys can come together and decide that we do need a facility where I'm 20 years old, I'm not quite sure what I want, but hey, I can go down the road. There's a technical school there, and I can get into a program. Not so much. I know that C-Tech offers something at night, but something more in the daytime, where you can go to and enroll yourself at some cost, obviously, but a fair price, so that some 20-year-old can get into plumbing or HVAC or auto mechanics.
I would love that.
Or or some kind of skill, to improve. So you're all in favor of that?
I am in favor of that, and my perspective is that I believe that we're not focusing on our children currently. We're not focusing on our children, and we're not focusing on our elderly. We're only focusing on our workforce at hand. That's what it looks like to me. Okay. I constantly see. I visited a few elderly homes in St. Thomas.
Yes.
It's not looking good in there. It's not looking good in there at all. We have land here in St. Croix. We could create a really great facility for the elderly. But they're gonna say, oh, we don't have money and this and that and the other. My grandparents, my aunt, she goes over there every single day to cook for them and take care of them. It takes a chunk of her life out of what she has to do as well.
Dedication.
It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of work. So she has to stop what she is doing to make sure that they are okay. If Social Security is granted to them at their age. If we had a facility or facilities that were in better conditions than we currently have, they could use their Social Security monies or a chunk of it to be able to be in the home and be taken care of and have a nurse on hand that will be checking their vitals every day. And, things like that. I don't think nurses show up at those facilities on a daily basis. So it's worrisome to me.
Yes.
Because I'm not saying that because they're just old people, but they are also culture.
Yes.
Okay? So we can't forget that.
Yeah.
The children are the future, but the old people or the elderly are our culture.
Yeah.
You could learn so much from these people.
Yeah.
You could learn how to make the birch brooms, how to make mabi, how to make this, how to sew that. A lot of our culture is disappearing when they go.
Yeah.
If we don't take care of them, or even imagine if the elderly homes could be a part, host programs where some elderlies who have different types of skills to go out to the schools and teach the kids how to do this or how to do that. So that way we're actually taking care of our culture, making sure it doesn't disappear.
And so the thing that everybody says is that we have no money. The government has no money one day, the next day, people are getting raises, yada, 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 on and on and on and on. But where do we get the money from? I mean, how do we go about getting money? There's grants. I guess if there's some rich, wealthy person that's kind enough to donate a few $1 million to build a structure, but to me, that's what it comes down to. I mean, how are we going to get the money to sort of put a lot of these things in place?
Okay. And that's a really great question, and I'm glad that you asked it. Currently, from what I understand, is there are a few streams of revenue that actually are, just picture like an outlet, that are plugged into the government. Okay. We have the rum cover over. That's a stream of revenue that comes into the government. We have the GERS system, which surmounts to about 25% of the overall income that goes into the government. Okay, and I know that because I met with Austin Nibbs from GERS to learn about the situation as to what's going on. So I'm not just pulling numbers out the air. A part of what I do is I go to agency heads and I learn from them. So that I can understand the situation and try to maybe find a
way
proposal or a way to fix it. Okay, so another stream is our taxes. Okay, so and there's other things, the permits and the smaller ones, but those three are pretty much some of the huger ones that are plugged
Bringing
in there.
the bigger dollars.
The bigger ones, yeah.
Okay.
So what we need to do, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure a lot of other candidates are on the same page where I am as well, is that we need to find new streams of revenue.
Okay.
Other new streams of revenue have been proposed. Some people are not ready for some of those streams of revenue.
What do you have in your thoughts?
Well, you know, the first thing somebody's going to think that what I have in thought is marijuana, because they take one look at me and be like, okay, he wants marijuana. He's okay. Okay, fine. Marijuana is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the medicinal value of marijuana. There's 700 different medicinal uses for marijuana alone.
Yes.
And we're not talking about making garments or clothes or perfumes and this, that, and the other. But we need to find a way to use our natural resources as sources of revenue. Okay, we need to use our water, we need to use our sun, our wind, our land.
Okay.
You know, we need to develop land and water policy uses so that we can tax, or for the use of land or so forth.
Yeah.
Because there have been EDC companies or different companies, from what I understand, that come in here that haven't paid 1 cent to
the
develop
local-
something or,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
So we're losing.
Yeah.
Immediately
Yeah.
off the jump.
I have to wonder, are those companies fined for that?
Well,
'Cause I thought that was a part of the part of what they were supposed to do, and they're not doing it. So the question is are they being fined for that?
Well, I had the opportunity to meet with Kyle Thomas, who is
Oh.
over at the EDA in
Okay.
the compliance division.
Okay.
And we had about a 3 or 4 hour talk about compliance.
Okay.
And at the time, I came in, and a very nice gentleman, and very informative, and I'm really happy that he took the time out to actually let me in to learn what's going on. And yeah, he actually enlightened me to the fact that a lot of the laws that were created or have been created or changed or amended by the legislature have caused hiccups, in a sense, as to how they can do their job, in a sense, And when I came in there, I was of the mindset that it doesn't seem that EDA companies, after maybe 2 or 3 years, are fulfilling their end of the bargain.
Okay.
That
was sort of your takeaway from that.
And I was pretty much right, yeah.
Okay.
But they are doing the best that they can.
Okay.
It's a hard job.
Who's doing the best they can?
Everyone in the EDA.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not here putting them down.
Okay.
It's some of the laws that are in place are impeding them from properly executing what needs to be done.
Okay.
You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So some of those things need to change.
Okay.
And what the legislature should do is go to them to understand what's going on before they make a law.
Okay.
I think we need to practice that every single time we make a law.
Okay.
I think we need to go to every single agency that we make a law for before it affects them, and learn from them before we even craft a bill or make an amendment or
Yeah.
a proposal.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of extra work, and who has time for that?
Yeah.
Da, da, da. But
But that's a way to fix the process.
that is the way to fix the process.
Yeah.
All of this shortcut business is not going to work.
Yeah, yeah. We find ourselves going further because we're taking shortcuts. So let me ask you another question. So you talk about revenue streams, and you say medical marijuana. So your medical marijuana is a medical stream that you think if we implemented that here, that would help.
It would help. Yes.
Okay.
I do. Okay, go ahead.
What else do you have as revenue streams?
I think that we could export goods here.
Okay.
Whatever happened to like brown soda? Not that they made brown soda here. Okay, like I'm saying, we could make juices here.
Yes.
We could make chlorophyll juice.
Yes.
We can plant sorrel here, so we can make sorrel,
Yeah.
almond juice, these different things, and sell them or export them.
Okay.
Some people are like, oh God, well, we don't have the market, or even our water, reverse osmosis. Oh, we can't compete with Dasani. Like you just, it's almost like you're just cutting yourself off before
Yeah.
you even start.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to know unless you try.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to know, because I overheard a few people on the radio on Mario's show maybe a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, something, talking about that similar situation.
Yeah, I think I heard that too. I think I heard that too.
I do believe that, and Rocky Liebert a long time ago, he proposed that.
Okay.
He proposed that we should use have WAPA create water for us.
Okay.
And export it and sell it here in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
We're talking about clean, pristine Caribbean water, you know.
Yeah.
We're not talking about wherever Dasani getting their water from.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is marketable.
Yes.
You just gotta market it properly.
We just got to put together the plan and do it.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Sounds fair. Let's move on here a little bit and let's talk about this whole thing. I guess another revenue stream could be and tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism has been our biggest. What's the word I'm looking for? Biggest.
Cash cow?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. You know, our biggest industry. That's what I'm looking at. The biggest industry that we've had here for years. I mean, I grew up here. Tourism. You know, growing up here, I wasn't really in tune, you know, with the tourism aspect of it. You know, I mean, if people would come here, great. But I'm older now, and I see the need for people coming here. But how do we increase that? How do we get more people coming here? And I say that because I actually was very fortunate when I lived in Florida to actually work for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. And so I had an opportunity to go on all these ships that actually come here and come to St. Thomas. And I know these ships hold 4,000 or 5,000 people easy. But I don't get the fact that, you know, not even half of that amount of people get off those ships.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
I don't know. There was a rumor at one point that were being told, don't get off the ship because the crime here is bad, yada, yada, yada. You know, I mean, whoever's doing that should not have been doing that. But how do we get more people off the ship? And I know it's a balance because the ship industry is a business onto its own. And their thing is to basically keep the passengers on the ship because we got everything on the ship. We got tennis courts, basketball courts, we got bars, food, and the whole 9 yards. So it's a fine balance. But when you go to Rock on any given day and you see 4 or 5 ships there, the place is mobbed. So people are getting off the ships, but not here per se. So how do we fix that? I mean, how can we get more ships here? There's the whole thing of more hotels. You know, I mean, how do we sort of fix that whole genre of tourism?
Okay. So before I make my statement, I am not pointing the finger.
Okay.
Okay. I am not trying to point the finger.
I understand.
I am trying to explain what I believe needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay. So the Department of Tourism's job is basically to market each island. Okay. And from what I understand, that's St. John, where I reside, is more of the natural unkept island.
Okay.
Because it's over 75 or 80% national park owned.
Yes.
And it's more in its pristine natural condition.
Yes.
Right? Now that also hurts the residents because we live in a national park land, our taxes are so high.
Yes.
That's why the St. John people are always we're always complaining about what's going on with taxes. They're killing us. But that's a whole different story.
Okay.
But let me move on now. St. Thomas is marketed as more of like the city island. It's marketed as the shopping haven. You're gonna get duty free this, low prices on jewelry.
A lot of the brand name type stuff.
Right.
Yeah, brand name shopping.
So it's like the shopping haven of the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
You know? And St. Croix now, I don't see, and when I say this, I don't see how they're marketing St. Croix.
Okay.
From what I've been able to gather, is that St. Croix is the historical island.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I've been able to gather from what I see tourism. And I'm not pointing the finger. I'm just saying. This is my perspective.
Okay.
So what I believe is that St. Croix needs to be remarketed.
Okay.
Okay.
As what?
Well, one of my ideas is St. Croix can be an excursion island.
Okay.
I believe that you have the space here to do many different types of excursions.
Okay.
You could we could bring some adrenaline junkies in here by doing, people love adventure.
Yeah.
It could be an adventure island.
Yeah.
You see, you could do ATV tours, zip lining, just hot air balloon tours.
Okay.
Different things like that because you have so much land in comparison to the other two sisters.
Yes.
I mean, well, The two brothers, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I believe that if you remarket St. Croix as a adventure island, or because you have the fish market down there, you know, you got that's also a part of the culture.
The culture,
you know?
yeah.
So it's already a historically branded island.
Okay.
But we need to rebrand it more in that direction and
Okay.
invite or even have this small business. You know, we need to tap in. One of the biggest problems with government is communication.
Okay.
Number one, communication. So we need more inter-agency communication.
Okay.
We'll get into that another time or even tonight.
Okay.
But what they need to do is speak with like the small business administration or whatever to try to lure in or have people start businesses of that nature.
Okay.
So that that we can push the adventure part of it. I actually met a gentleman at the Chicken Shack who has like a Wrangler Jeep tour.
Is that
Does that make some familiar to you?
is that Tantan? Is that Tantan
That's
Tours? Yes,
right.
yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That brother right there got the right idea.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's actually fun. I've done it a couple
See what I'm
times.
saying?
Yeah, I've
So,
done it a couple times.
A lot of that is what we need here
Yeah.
so that we can change the diversity in the economy.
So more
The way-
businesses, not so much like that, but just provide us
to provide
excursion.
an adventure
Sure.
type service.
Okay. Okay.
For the people, because
Okay.
you're gonna get people love adventure, you know.
Yeah.
You know, people want to do something before they die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Why not come to St. Croix and do it?
I still trying to jump out a plane, but I don't
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. That's a little tricky. That's a little
with
tricky.
with a parachute, you know. But one day.
Yeah,
day.
I got you. Okay, so tourism. Okay, so so you're in favor of just sort of expanding it, and one of the ways to do it is getting small businesses to provide these adventure type businesses.
Remarketing St. Croix. I'm not sure in what aspect tourism or is
Yeah.
in control of that, but I believe remarketing to an adventure island
Yeah,
could potentially spring up a lot more
Yeah.
small businesses
Yeah.
and attract those individuals who are looking for adrenaline
Okay.
type of
yeah, yeah. I got you.
because from what I understand things are kind of slow here, you know, so there needs more things to
Yeah.
happen on the island, you
Yeah.
know, so we want to just
Yeah,
push a boost in the island, you know, and I think that's the way we need to, the direction we need to move in.
yeah. One of the things that I think when I lived in Florida, this was some time back. I remember at one point I remember seeing a billboard that talked about the Virgin Islands, you know, a beautiful place to come. But in my mind, the question now becomes, you know, if we do billboards, for example, can we say, come to St. Croix Virgin Islands and sort of forget about St. Thomas and St. John? Because I think a lot of times what happens too is, you know, you see the Virgin Islands, somebody may get on Google and do it, and they say, oh, St. Thomas is the capital, that's probably the place to go to. So that's where they go, whether it's by plane or by ship, and sort of, and you have a smaller percentage. I've met several people traveling back and forth that go to St. Thomas, but then they also, hey, I'm going over to St. Croix for a couple of nights. I heard it's part of the Virgin Islands. Me and my wife are going over there for a couple of days to check it out.
Yeah.
And you know they do spend, and it's overnight. That's what we want is overnight stays. But we need more people. You know, we just can't have one or two couples per week doing that. We need sort of hundreds of people to come over or just come here directly. But what about hotels? I remember, I think it was in the 2016 election or even the 2014. At one point, I was telling, I got so excited because there was a lot of talk about building a hotel up on the south side there. And I was like, yes, this is what we need. We get a hotel, we get more people coming here. This will be the thing to sort of get the economy rolling, but it never materialized. I think the sign is even down on the South Shore there. At one point, it was still up, you know, developing, but the sign is gone now. So what's your take on more hotels? Do you think, you know, do we need more hotels? Because I know St. Thomas has a lot of hotels. I actually did a tour over there, and I was really surprised at the amount of hotels when you come around from the just on the Red Hook side.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole area over there. I was like, man, there's a bunch of hotels over here.
Yeah.
Compared
There's a lot.
compared to what we have here. You know, we have a few, but I mean, are you in favor of maybe one or two more hotels?
Well, to be honest with you, we could build 100 hotels on St. Croix, and we would still experience the same effect.
You think so?
the same effect. I don't think that is going to attract more people.
Okay.
What I believe that needs to be done is that we need to build an areopolis, meaning a
What is that?
a hub. It's like a airport.
Okay.
You need a better airport than you currently have.
Okay.
And I say that because if you build a better airport, then you can attract other destinations to fly here.
Okay.
You need people from China coming over here. You need, well, I'm saying you, but I mean we.
Yes. Yes.
So don't think that I'm keeping myself out the equation. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I understand.
So we need to attract different countries
Okay.
other than just the United States to come here.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? We need an areopolis. We need currency exchange with that as well. So
Okay.
it can't just be one without the other.
Yeah.
You know, we need to attract different countries than we are currently experiencing to
Okay.
come to the Virgin Islands.
Come to the Virgin Islands. Okay.
To spark or spike the economy.
Okay.
Especially with currency exchange.
Okay. And by that you mean someone from China coming here and being able to exchange their money to U.S. dollars right here in the Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
got you.
Yes,
I
and that
got
also taps into banking.
Yes.
Because then the lieutenant governor, who's in charge of banking, which they haven't brought a new bank here in God knows when,
Yes.
can attract other banks to come here in the Virgin Islands to also be a part of that.
Of the growing economy, yeah.
Exactly, a growing economy. And
Okay.
we're talking about a worldwide economy. We don't, America, we're part of America or whatever, but we can't just depend on America for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, we really need to get outside of that thinking, like really soon, because
Okay.
we only have 4 or 5 more years before everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
based on GERS or whatever. You
Yeah,
know, so,
before the whole place kind of
and
just falls
then after
apart.
that, they might have a federal board running us. You know, if that's what we want, then I guess that's what we'll get.
Yeah.
But if not, we really need to make really
Yeah. The Virgin Islands should have their own cash on the side to do the things that we need to do outside of the United States of America.
That's right.
To,
We need to be-
to improve and to run the island and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So let's move on here. We're talking about housing development, revamping and transitioning our housing programs, building more affordable homes for the Virgin Islands, for Virgin Islanders. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I believe that, like for instance, right, we have a lot of housing communities. Housing communities actually aren't supposed to be permanent.
Mm.
In reality, a housing community is supposed to be a transitional for the family that's in the housing community, and we need FHA and different housing departments to actually step up their game so that they can help these people who are in the housing communities to become homeowners.
Yes.
Because the housing communities, the public housing communities, are not supposed to be permanent.
Yes.
We are supposed to help those people and facilitate them with the programs or the initiative and the needs that they may need so that they can become homeowners themselves.
They can move on to the next step.
That's what it's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
You see? So when I talk about transitioning and changing and all of this, we need to change that behavior, because we've had people who have probably had 2 or 3 generations in the same housing community.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The children's take it over and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
We should be.
But how do we fix that? I mean, the whole thing of generations in the same house. How do we fix that? How do we do that? I mean,
It's up to the agencies that deal with that
Okay.
to and they may be having shortcomings with funding themselves. You know, we're in a crisis here, so
Okay.
they probably haven't been able to execute their full responsibilities because they're not receiving the type of funding that they need in order to initiate these programs.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to point the finger.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I understand.
you
I
know,
understand.
so we really need to allocate our monies in the right places and be sure that they're allocated for specific reasons.
Okay.
You know, and we do need to audit all these agencies to make sure that the monies that were allocated were used in the proper ways, because then we keep pushing ourselves backwards, and we don't want to go back. We want to move forward.
Move forward. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Economic development.
Yeah.
Expanding our economic and investment infrastructure, new and innovative sources of revenue for the economy. I guess we kind of touched on that a little bit in some of the stuff we talked about before, but so I guess in general, and this is kind of like a broad subject, but it ties into revenue streams, small business. And let's talk, what is your thoughts on small business? A lot of people say that the whole, starting a business here is just a hassle. It's a long process. It's not friendly. I mean, do you have a business or you know anybody?
I do.
What was your experience?
It was a bit confusing at times, but I had someone help me out.
Okay.
So it could be easier.
Okay.
It could be easier.
Do you think technology would help that? Because in the States you can do a lot of stuff online. I mean, you can get
That's right.
you can renew your tags online. You
Yeah.
pay the money, and 2 days later you get it in the mail. You put on your new sticker, and you're good to go. But do you think technology would help a lot of that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I believe so. But I think that we need to also have more, in that area, we need to have more centralized government. What I
Okay.
mean by that is that in St. Thomas, at least, I'm not sure how it is in St. Croix. Maybe someone can educate me. But for instance, in St. Thomas, you have to go to the lieutenant governor's office to get something done up there with your trademark and so forth.
Yeah.
Then you got to run down to property and procurement all the way down on the other side of town.
Yeah, that's
That
how
you
it is
can-
here.
It's
It's a running
like you're
around.
bouncing around.
It's a running around
It's like
kind
a
of a-
pinball game.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that needs to be more centralized
Okay.
to make the process a lot
Easier for the person
people.
starting the business. Okay.
And how I feel about small business, I believe small business is one of the heartbeat, well, a part of the heartbeat of our economy.
Okay.
Small business drives our economy.
Okay.
That means that the little people, well, they're not really little, but that's what they call them. I'm just using somebody else's terminology, so don't think I out there telling people to smile and thing, okay? So the everyday people,
Yes.
right? Okay, let me just rephrase
The everyday
it.
working people.
The everyday working people are the ones who are creating their revenues, and they're able to sustain themselves. Well, if business is good, obviously, but they're able to maybe, get a couple perks, do a write-off to the business,
Yeah.
so that they can be able to actually pay their taxes.
Yeah.
Where the tax is killing people out here,
Yeah.
Mr. Christian.
Yeah.
Taxes are killing people out here, They want to charge you for taxes, and then you're only making minimum wage.
Yeah.
You can't afford to pay the taxes.
Taxes,
You're
yeah.
not paying me properly, but you want this amount of tax from me.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible, savage game.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
And then if I'm late with my taxes, I'm penalized every month.
Yeah.
But when the government is late giving me my taxes, which I haven't gotten for 3 years, by the way,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't penalize them.
You're not.
I'm
yeah.
still waiting.
You're still waiting. Yeah.
So I can't penalize them. I'm
Yeah.
just here waiting like this with my hands crossed. Like,
Yeah.
okay, hopefully one day I'll get that, and then you know what I can do with that money?
Yeah.
I can use this so I could buy my son this or whatever I have to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm already. I have 3 years of planning of what I'm gonna do
Yeah, with
that
the money. Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You know.
Let's talk about in the sense of small business and also like bringing big business here. This all kind of feeds into, I guess, the EDA. But I got this thing about, I work for the EDA, and
okay.
no, I'm just
Oh, sorry,
hypothetically
scenario, okay.
This is a scenario here. I work for the EDA.
You're so convincing, I think.
I work for the EDA, and my job is now to go to the States and find some, Fortune 500 company and say, hey, CEO, we want you to come down to St. Croix in particular and do business here. We want you to bring 20 people. We got a nice facility here up by UVI there where you can house your staff. We have fiber optics here. And the guy says, great. I'll be down in 2 weeks with a couple of my executives, and we'll take a tour and we'll get the speech here. But when they get here now, the airport's a little run down. The roads are raggedy. If they come here at night, it's going to be dark. Every other street light is out. To me, that's not a good look.
I agree.
That's not a good first impression. Now, if I was that CEO, I'd be like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, but how am I going to convince 20 employees that have these conveniences in the States to drop what they're doing and relocate here and sort of go back in time? Bad roads, no lights. How do we, this is a thing that we have to, like, I think in a sense, put priority on, like immediate priority to if we want to get the businesses here. Infrastructure, roads, lights, there's the whole thing. I don't know about in St. Thomas. I haven't been over there when it rains a lot, but I know here we have some serious areas that just are underwater.
Wow.
Just when we have these flash floods, come through. But, the drainage, the sidewalks, what are your thoughts on that?
First impressions last a lifetime,
Yes.
And I agree with you. We could do more to make sure that our islands are, and I'm not pointing the finger at Public Works again. I don't want to point fingers, but I do have to explain myself.
Yes.
And whoever has jurisdiction of the job that needs to be done, I'm going to have to say their names.
Okay.
So yeah, Public Works, they probably having a funding issue themselves, but we had an influx of federal monies for a lot of that. Okay, so I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Okay,
would you be able to find out if you got it? Would you be able to find out? Because a lot of people say that there's money there. There's money has always been there. The money's there for the roads, but we're going to leave that money there just in case the government finds themselves in some kind of dire need. There's no payroll money, so we're going to take the money from this account and put it in this one.
Yeah.
And
all of that. So I would make it my business to find out about these things.
Okay.
If I am elected a senator, that would actually be a part of my job.
Okay.
So it would be my business to do so.
Okay.
And not only that, but we need to have more transparency with the people.
Okay.
Because the people feel like things are just getting done and nobody's telling them about it.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
Well, you said people think that things are getting done?
Things are getting done and no one's telling them about it.
Okay. That's kind of interesting
instance,
thought. So I don't think things are getting done, but
right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
things aren't getting done, and they're still not saying nothing about it. So that's the thing, Okay.
Or things are being done. Things are being done, and they're not being apprised of what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. So, for instance, in St. John, at the Guy Benjamin School, the governor came to Sprout School and had a town hall, and he mentioned a lot of things, but he never mentioned that in Guy Benjamin they were gonna tear down the whole place and put modulars there or whatever, or it was gonna be a construction site and what was going on. So people kind of were appalled at what was going on because he just came from having a town hall meeting but never apprised them of what was going on.
Okay.
And perhaps he didn't even know.
Yeah.
But you would think the governor would
know. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't speak for him and I don't know if he knew or not.
Okay.
But it just looked wrong.
Okay.
So all I'm trying to say is that we need more transparency with the people.
Okay.
And to apprise them of what's going on.
Okay. Okay. So when you talk about accountability, obviously you're okay with updating the citizens or the residents of the Virgin Islands on what's happening and what you're involved with as we deal with things.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about, as we talk about accountability, the other thing that we got to touch on too is the reapportionment.
Yeah.
Another hot button topic, something that I guess will help, yet to be seen, to be determined. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I took the time out to actually call Peggy Moorhead.
Yes.
Who is a part of the reapportionment initiative.
Yes.
And I spoke to her a little bit about it. And like I said, I like to reach out to people and learn from them so that I can better understand what's going on.
Okay.
Before I come up with a conclusion. So
Okay.
I also, yesterday evening, I was able to actually speak with Mario Moorhead as well, who's
Yes.
a part of the initiative.
Yes.
I still need to actually speak with them some more
Okay.
and be a part of what's going on to better understand the entire reapportionment. But
that's odd because I think a lot of people are saying that they've talked to those two, maybe some others that sort of have a better understanding, but I don't get the any sense of confidence.
No, it's not that I'm not confident about it. Confident. I'm all in favor of accountability. I'm in favor of accountability, and I believe that if we reapportion, it may spawn more accountability with the senators, with the legislature, basically.
Okay.
You know, especially with the at-large level seats.
Okay.
You know, which it would be 6 of them.
Okay.
Okay, and then it would be 9 district senators.
Okay.
So it would be broken up, 6 at large and 9 district.
Okay.
You know, but there is a lot of language that's gonna need to be developed
Okay.
once the initiative has passed.
Okay.
Because currently they're gathering their signatures.
The signatures now,
in
yeah.
order so it can become an initiative.
Yes.
But the legislature is still going to have to go through the initiative and create what needs to be created. So
Yeah.
that's the part where there might be
Okay.
changes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So
Okay.
the root of what they're trying to do is basically to create more accountability, from what I understand.
Okay.
And I'm in favor of that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if I'm part of the 33rd legislature, I will definitely do my best to make sure that the root of what they want to pass is going to move forward into the law as transitionally, as smoothly as possible.
Okay.
You know, and you never know how it's going to be because it's 15 members and we're all going to debate and
Yeah.
speak and learn from, you know, I would invite them, of course.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we should have a few forums with them and understand what it is that they're trying to do.
Okay.
You know? It still needs to go through the legislature, so it's
Yeah.
gonna change.
Okay.
So that's why when you said that I'm not confident, it's just because it's like phase 1.
Okay.
You know, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's gonna change a little bit along the way.
Okay.
But the root of it is basically accountability.
And you're all for that.
I am for that.
So obviously it would make senators more accountable in the way they are now.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So what about the whole concept of, so we have 7, 7, and 1. What about 5, 5, and 1?
5, 5, and 1.
Yeah.
That's still good too.
Yeah.
That's still.
I mean, we're saving 85,000 times 4.
Well, you're saving more than that because they all have budgets.
Yeah, they have
to run their
budgets.
offices.
Yeah.
I think it might be $100 and something thousand
Yeah.
dollars or something.
When you add that up
I don't know
over
how much, but yeah,
5 years, 10 years, that's raises for teachers.
that's right.
That money can be put to build a facility. There's many uses for that.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. And when you look at states which have 2 senators,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, so why do we have?
Well, we have so many.
But
Yeah.
technically our legislature is like our Congress in a sense. You
Yeah.
know, it's just everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of a self-contained government in a sense.
Yeah, and we should have already developed a constitution.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on here. It is 9:03. So let's talk about workforce development, professional development, education, and training programs. So what are your thoughts on that?
We need to take care of our employees.
Okay.
We need to develop them because if an employee is the same, if he or she is the same 10 years, 20 years later, it's like you're not growing.
Yeah.
Not just the individual, but the department or the agency. So we do need the government or even I would even tell the private sector, but I know that's a little bit more difficult. But they should also invest in their employees.
Okay.
Because if you want your business to grow, you have to make sure that all parts of your business are growing.
Together, yeah.
So I think development, I feel like I'm a lifelong student. And I feel that we all should try to have that mentality that every day we're going to learn something new.
Okay.
Because we don't want to become stagnant and just kind of
We just get comfortable.
get comfortable. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to some academy or something.
Yeah.
It's just that you put in your mind, you're applying it, you're retaining it or whatever. You just learn something new every day, regardless of what you're doing. And
Okay.
I think that businesses in the public and private sector should invest in their employees because the better your employees are, the better your business is going to be.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Okay. That sounds fair. I could agree with that. Capitalizing on our natural resources, land, water policies, natural energy programs, solar, wind, hydro, exporting natural goods. What's your thoughts on that?
We need to develop land and water policies so that we can implement taxation for companies that want to use or lease land.
Okay.
We also need to tap into our natural sources of energy, which I think hydro is a very big and important one that we haven't really tapped into. Everybody's talking about solar and wind, which
Okay.
I'm not against either.
Okay.
But solar, we have hurricanes here. We know that.
Yes.
We had 2 of them.
Yes.
Cat 5s. And I noticed that one of your solar plants stood up.
Yes, the one on the highway.
Yeah, on the highway.
Yeah.
And then the other one by the court
Yes.
got tore up.
Yes.
And then in St. Thomas, I don't know if you've been to St. Thomas, if you know where that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one just got obliterated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was actually responsible for flying into people's homes and all kind of craziness.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Some people got damages in their house
Because of flying.
Because of flying
Yeah.
solar panels.
Okay.
So I am not familiar if there are solar panels rated for hurricane type winds and so forth. But if there are any, we should invest in those.
Yeah, which I don't know why they didn't do that from the beginning.
Exactly. I'm not sure if they're,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whatever we do next time,
Yeah.
we need to invest in that type of solar panels.
See, to me, that kind of stuff is like just poor management. I mean, the people that were designing this and putting it together should have just been more cognizant of this is an island, we're prone to hurricanes. So why put in this stuff that's only rated at hurricane, Cat 3s?
Exactly.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like there was no thought. And I don't know if this is a money cutting, money saving kind of thing.
And we're never gonna win when we do that.
Yeah, and so we're not winning. I mean, I'm glad that the one on the highway is still up and standing. My question is, and I don't know if anybody even really knows, but is it actually working now?
I don't know.
Is that farm turned on? And is it sucking up the sunlight and bringing that energy into the grid? I don't know. I mean, I haven't really heard anybody say it on any talk show, but. I mean, as hot as it's been in the last several weeks here, you would think that our bills would be going down.
I know, right?
Because we got all this heat and this energy coming down on it.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder too if that place had gotten mashed up, would our bills be even higher than what they are now?
True.
So I mean, just many things that I think that I don't know. For me, it's just nothing was really kind of thought through. But who am I? I'm just a lonely talk show host here. Anyway. Let's. So I got a list of things here I want to run through with you real quick.
Sure.
I know we talked about a few of them, but we're going to touch on. So you mentioned earlier, I guess a way of getting revenue in here is the whole thing of the medical marijuana. So for me, that's like, in the grand scheme of things, it's in place. We have a couple places, 2, 3, 4 places here, and in St. Thomas and even St. John that someone with a prescription can go to and get something to relieve their pain or their anxiety or whatever. So, and just in general, you're for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm for that.
Okay.
I would like to visit any bills that have been drafted in reference to that.
Okay.
And actually work with the proposers of those bills to better understand what the direction was that they wanted to do, and hopefully we'll be able to collaborate and put something forward that will actually make a difference or pass.
Okay.
And I know it's difficult because a lot of people probably are not ready for that, and it's fine, it's just you always have to just try.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen 20, 30 years from now, I don't know, but it seems like
20, 30 years.
Who knows?
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
just saying. I wouldn't want that, but I'm saying like it just
That's a
seems
long
like
time.
we like to wait till last minute. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to stop being afraid and try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super and I got this running joke that the Virgin Islands was going to be the last state territory compared to all 50 states are going to approve it and make it available, and then we're still not going to be where we need to be when it comes to that.
Actually, I think maybe last week. I mean, I know here I am trying to quote Trump now, but so please don't take me too literal. Okay. Trump was saying that he's willing to
I saw that.
legalize. You did see
Yeah,
that?
I saw
Okay.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
Legalize it on the federal level.
Yeah.
So, with Trump, you never know what
You
he's
never
gonna
know.
do next.
That could be just
So,
something being said.
Yeah, but yeah.
And so the other part of that too is the whole thing of just general legalization, like some of the states have. So you can go to the state, you can go into a shop, and you can buy, 2-3 ounces or whatever, not ounces, but grams, 4 or 5 grams, purchase it, pay the tax on it, and just go about your business, go home and smoke. For me, in my mind, if we could do that here, I think people would just like, oh, we could smoke in the Virgin Islands, honey, let's pack our bags and head down there.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That will spike tourism as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in California or Wyoming or wherever, Chicago, and I see a commercial from tourism on CNN News or some local channel that you can go down to St. Croix, baby, pack your bags, let's roll.
Yeah.
This is all part of lifting this place up.
Yeah.
They come here, they have money, they stay in a hotel for 4 or 5 days. They're probably buying several grams a day, plus a tax. They're renting a car. They're spending money to buy food. I mean, just to me, it just seems like a win-win situation. You have the medical for the sick, and those that are in pain, and you have the recreational part of it for the people that aren't sick, that just want to come here, enjoy the beaches. It's got to be a win-win situation there.
Yeah.
We touched on infrastructure a little bit. So you're in favor of just getting the roads better. We talked a little bit about WAPA and the renewable energy, wind and solar. You touched a little bit on education. So one of the big things that I guess that sort of hurts me a little bit is teachers are falling behind in pay. Teachers are leaving. You touched on that a little bit when we first started that, but teachers are leaving because the pay is too low, WAPA is too high. The teacher's salary is just not enough to live on. And if you have a couple kids, it just makes it even worse, daycare and all this other stuff. But any thoughts on maybe, one of the first things that, you guys can do, once you get in there is to give the teachers a raise. I mean, I think that would just boost the morale all across the board. You know what I'm saying? It would just boost the morale.
That's an investment in our future. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? I'm for that. I'm all into investing in our future, in our children.
Okay.
Because they're gonna be taking care of me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We gotta think about it that way. We just can't think for the moment all the time.
Okay.
It's very important for us to invest in our children and take care of our elderly as well, because our culture will die with them.
Yeah.
So, we can't just be living in the moment and thinking that everything is all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing too that it comes to mind too with the Department of Education, it seems to be one of the departments that has the biggest budgets. Soup and I in our inner circle, we always say, can't we just like chop some of that budget down a little bit? I mean, there's a lot of layers of employees within the Department of Education, maybe some duplicates of responsibilities within that office. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I currently do not know the teacher to student ratio, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I do know that it's whatever it is, that they have to comply with that.
Okay.
So you might say like, oh, why we have too much of this and that and the other, but I do know that it's important for education so that the children have the type of attention that they need from the teacher in order for them to learn properly.
Yeah.
So I know that there's more than likely a student to teacher ratio.
Okay.
Now on the administrative side of it, each school differs.
Okay.
When I was at Gift Hill School, it would differ from what a public school had or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. So each administration at each school would probably have a different type of administrative setup or whatever.
Okay.
Now, if we can...
But why would that be, though, if this is the Department of Education? You would think that every school would sort of be following the same, the same model, the same outline, the same tasks. It's just a different school with a different name, different teachers, different principal, but everybody's got to be following the same outline.
Well, agreed, but my understanding is that the budget for each school is depending on the population.
Okay.
So let's say I have 800 students here, then I might need, I'm just throwing some numbers out, they may not be accurate, but
Okay.
let's just say I have 50 teachers.
Okay.
But then I have 1,600 students, and I might need 100 teachers at this school. So then that's a different budget in comparison to this school.
Yeah.
So I think it has to do with the population and so forth.
Well, that's fair, but I mean, you know, you have 50 teachers here with 2,000 students, or you have 100 teachers here with 5,000 students. I mean, that's all fine, Danny, but I think that they should all be following the same outline.
Agreed.
Yeah, the same outline of how they educate, how they teach.
Yes.
You know, the policies, the regulations, the guidelines of the education should be the same. I mean, I don't think there should be any difference. I mean, you know, budget, you know, you got more students, you need more books. That's fine, but you know, this sort of ties into the curriculum. I mean, the curriculum should be, you know, for I guess for first to sixth grade as a curriculum for that. That should be at all schools, and then middle school, 7th and 8th grade, or 6th, 7th, 8th grade,
Yeah.
and then high school. Just a thought. I don't know. I just sit here.
you're
I
right.
just sit here and wonder. You know, when you look at these budgets, I'm like, wow, this is a big budget. And then the space between that and the next agency is, you know, like millions of dollars.
Yeah, but we got to also incorporate utilities, cost of operation, you know, salaries for the teachers, any incidentals or any, you know, miscellaneous funds that you might spend during the school year, that something might come up, monies that are for specific events like Black History Month or, you know, Christmas show or the prom and these different things that they
Yeah.
do
That
during
they do in the school year.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
you know, they have to allocate funding. I'm not sure how it is, but that's just a general
Yeah,
thought,
just a
you
general
know.
thought, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. One of the other things that Soup and I in our inner circles talk about here is the Attorney General. The Attorney General, if I'm not mistaken, is appointed by the governor.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people that I know have a problem with that, because the Attorney General is supposed to be the highest, you know, the highest
The attorney of the people.
Yeah, exactly. And some people seem to feel that, you know, if he's appointed by the governor, that he does the governor's work and it's not so much for the people. So any thoughts on that?
Well, you speak in my language.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I do believe that the Attorney General needs to be elected by the people.
Okay.
I do believe that, and it's being done in the United States of
Yeah.
America. I don't think that, and when I say this again, I'm not pointing fingers, but I don't think that a governor needs to appoint an Attorney General. I think it's too much power
Yeah.
for the governor to have. I believe our Attorney General, since he's the people's attorney, should be elected by the people,
yeah.
so that he knows who he's actually working for.
Yeah. And that could be just, you know, 3 people running for Attorney General every 4 years, and you know, they go around and they give their platform, and then you vote, and then someone's in office, and then the governor would have his own legal team too.
And which he does.
Yeah.
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 So
So
he already has his legal team.
Yeah.
But I don't see why, you know.
yeah, that doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
We touched on the GRS a little bit, but that's a hot button topic. I mean, that's like everywhere you go, everybody's talking about
Yeah.
that. My mom, you know, is retired. She's been retired now for quite a while, and this, that, and the other. And I just heard the other day that some people still don't get checks, and it's just a mess. And I mean, how do we fix that in you know, in the quickest way? Some people say, you know, maybe adding a 401k somehow to the whole process. Obviously, we need an infusion of money to sort of put into that pot. I know the governor, when I read this, the governor was sort of proposing that we take a little bit more from the employee, and that money would go there. And I thought, oh my God, not again. You know, the employee's going to, I'm not a government employee, but I'm thinking, damn, the government employee's going to get hit again in their head. You know, this is money going there. I mean, ultimately, it's for retirement, but, you know, in real time, it's just less money that they have, that they get every 2 weeks, you know. How do we fix it? How do we fix it quickly? How do we make it strong?
Well, the only quick fix is if we receive $2.5 billion from Donald Trump, maybe out his personal account or something. I don't
Okay.
know. But whoever gives it to us, that's the only quick fix that we would have.
Okay.
The federal government is not going to give it to us.
Okay,
So
understood.
we can just forget about that.
Okay.
So from what I understand, and like I told you, I met with Austin Nibbs and the attorney for GERS, and they told me a few things that would potentially happen.
Help. That could help.
Happen.
Okay.
Happen. So if we don't, when I say we, I'm saying the legislature, but if the legislature doesn't create a fix, what's going to happen is they're going to have to implement a higher percentage of what am I trying to say here? They're going to take more money out of the workers'
Weekly paycheck.
bi-weekly
Paycheck,
correct.
yeah.
So I think I'm up to 12.5% right now.
Mm-hmm.
That might jump to 13.5 or even 15%. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the legislature decides to create legislation to do it in phases,
Mm-hmm.
let's say a tier or whatever employee would have this. Well, there's different tier employees. I think there's 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think there's 3 tiers.
3?
Yeah, I think there's 3.
employees, right?
I think.
So they would create legislation to explain that if you're this tier employee, the first year, starting on this date,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to jump to this.
Yeah.
And then 3 years or maybe 5 years or whatever they decide the step timetable is going to be,
Mhm.
it's going to jump to this.
Yes.
And then it's going to jump to that.
Yes.
And then they do that for each tier.
Tier.
Okay? If that's not done by the legislature to create that structure and that plan,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be done manually by the GERS system, whether
Yeah.
we like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So that's what we have to look forward to
Okay.
if we don't do anything.
Okay.
Now, we heard a few things from the governor stating that this month, June, back when he did the town hall in St. John and some other meetings, that that the government of the Virgin Islands was going to pay the GERS system some money. I can't remember the exact amount, in order to infuse or help with what's going on.
Okay.
But mind you, since May of 2017 up until now, from what I understand, the government was not giving our GERS contributions to the GERS.
ERS. Yeah.
You know, so our monies were being used for day-to-day
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 to 4 days of cash to run our government.
Yeah.
Now, you know, that doesn't sound good to me either, but what else were they supposed to do, I suppose?
Yeah.
You know, it's gotten that bad.
Yeah.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So, you know, we've put ourselves in a really messy situation.
Yeah.
And it has to do a lot with the integrity of people from the past. And I'm not pointing fingers at everybody, but for those who are guilty, let them be the guilty ones.
Yeah.
The ones who have taken from the people and stolen their monies and laundered or whatever else they have done. I'm not sure what they've done, and I want to keep far away from these people. But they have put us in this situation.
Yeah.
So when I talk to people on the street about who needs to go into office or why you or whatever, I always tell them that they need to take their time and learn about each candidate and stop this whole popularity match nonsense.
Okay.
Okay? We need to find individuals who have morals and values and integrity, people who are going to deal with us right and proper.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we don't need people who have self-interest before our interest,
Yes.
the people. Because this government is for the people, and by the people. Okay? So we need to remember that. And I want everyone out there who's listening to, don't rush. Okay, don't rush. Take your time out, learn about each candidate, because we're in a critical time, a very critical time. We cannot bring in this one here because she's for him, or that's Thing's son over there and we used to go school together. No, we cannot do that anymore. That time is done. Just because you went to a fish fry doesn't mean that you have to vote for that person. You need to know who you're voting for. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
You know, we need some serious people in there.
Yeah.
Whoever that they choose, the people.
Couple more things here. Public safety.
Yeah.
We're talking about guns and crimes and, you know, that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, crime is everywhere, whether we like it or not, unfortunately. Poverty breeds crime.
Okay.
So some people who are labeled as criminals may not have a criminal mindset. Perhaps they were doing it because they need to get money and they don't know what else to do. You know, they got
backs
to pay
against
this
the wall.
bill. I don't, you know, they're stressing out. And it forced them to step out of their moral box and do something that they wouldn't have done on a regular basis. Okay, so we can't always just blame people, and we always have to give people chances. You know, we've been having a lot of discussions, my colleagues and I, about what we need to do. And I actually called the Golden Grove Penitentiary today, and on Sunday and Monday, Sunday I believe, but I wasn't able to reach anyone at the time who was involved in site visits.
Okay.
But not only just site visits, but I believe that we need to put programs in place to transition these individuals back into society.
Okay.
Because there's nothing there for them. When you go jail, like everybody just want to keep away from you, like you just got sprayed with Raid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like you're the most terrible person.
Yeah.
But a penitentiary is a place of reform.
Yeah.
That's what it actually is for. Reform. It's not to lock people up and
just let them
treat
sit there.
bad.
Yeah,
exactly.
let them sit there, yeah.
You know, we need a library in there if we don't have one. We need different things in there to spark interest of reformity
Yes.
for the individual, you know. So when we talk about crime, I always want to talk about reform because it's important for us to know that. Look at Martin Luther King. How much time he got locked up?
I think it's a few,
right?
A few times, yeah.
Okay, Malcolm X, you know, Gandhi.
Yeah.
How do I think? You know, so many people.
Yeah.
I wanted to say more, but you know, but they weren't bad people
Yeah.
or terrible people just because they got locked up. They fought for something, and that's why they got
Yeah,
locked up.
yeah, exactly.
But we have this tendency of thinking that somebody went to jail and just
forget about them.
forget about them.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
we need to put programs in
Place.
place or even nonprofits that will help with transitioning people of that nature back into society.
Okay.
You know, we have to give people a chance. So with crime now, I know that a lot of senators have been pushing a lot of bills to decrease crime and so forth. Some of them are a bit aggressive, but at the same time, like I said, poverty breeds crime. So we also need to pay our people what they're worth, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, I know that minimum wage is going up this month.
Yeah.
So
$10.50, I believe.
$10.50, yeah. So that's a good step.
Yeah.
You know,
It's encouraging.
It's encouraging.
It's definitely encouraging.
You know, but you know, after I walk 1 hour, you know, and I go to per se Wendy's and other, you know, a fish sandwich with a drink and thing, I don't spend my $10
$10.50,
already.
yeah.
It's 1 hour for
I know.
a fish sandwich combo.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
I wish it was
think-
better than that. You know,
I
but
think a better minimum wage would be $15 an hour.
I
It's
agree.
more like more livable at 15 an hour than 10. But
I agree. And look where we live, Mr. Christian. Everything is being imported.
yeah,
Everything has a taxation on it. I mean, for God's sake, we just had a sin tax implemented.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like
yeah, it's costing more.
it's
just
costing more for everything.
Yeah.
You know, and our minimum wage just slowly creeping
rise.
along.
Yeah, I got you.
You know,
I got
and it
you.
needs to change.
Yeah. Real quick here, I want to touch on the hospital.
Okay.
And mental illness. You know, the hospital is in disarray. I have a couple good friends there that are nurses and working long hours. You know, it's just you know, the way they describe it, it's just a mess. I know they got those trailers out back. I asked them, what are they doing with those trailers? They've been sitting there for months now. Oh, we don't know. They're just there and no one's saying anything. You know, so we just go about, you know, what we're doing. But you know, we need a hospital. We can't let the hospital go down. You know, the services need to improve. I had to go there myself for some medical attention about 2 months ago, and literally I was there from 12:30 in the afternoon. I didn't get seen till 8 o'clock in the evening, and then I finally left at 10 o'clock that night. And it was just an ordeal, you know, and people are coming in and out. A few people just said, you know what, take my name off the list, I'm going home. I'll come back later, I'll come back tomorrow. Hopefully I don't die in the process. It's just a whole level of man. And then when I left at 10 o'clock, it just seemed like there was like a shift change in the ER in a sense. You know, it was weird. As I came out, I walked out, I went straight out. I thought to myself, it's like they're having a party in here. Kids were jumping up and down, and it was just, it was weird. You know, I didn't say anything to anybody because I wasn't feeling well. I just came out and I said, and I just walked out and jumped in my truck and I left.
Okay.
But, we can't let the hospital go down.
No, man. No.
I always say, that I'm not sure if the hospital where it is now is going to stay where it is now, but in my mind, we should have already broken ground at the new location.
Okay.
We should have already done that, because in my mind, when these architects put together these renditions of the buildings and the land, I'm sure that they have 2 or 3 or 4 renditions in someone's drawer, and possible locations where these hospitals could have gone already. And so they should have already broken ground. That would have been an encouraging sign to let the people know that, yes, we are getting a new hospital. Hopefully this time it's going to be built better. Just a better facility. But I haven't heard of any ground being broken, and the hospital is kind of just the way it is. I mean, how do you, what are your thoughts? And I don't know too much about the hospital in St. Thomas, but from the news, they seem to be having sort of the same types of problems, cash flow and shortage of doctors, and there's this thing of the local nurses. The nurses that I refer to, they're local nurses, so they actually live here. But there's this thing too of the traveling nurses. These nurses come in on these 6-month projects or contracts, and they work, and then they leave, and there's a whole rotation. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, can we rely on you to get some funding to get the hospital in a good state?
Of course, I
Okay.
will. Healthcare is also tied into life, and I'm pro-life, so
Okay.
we do need to take care of our people.
Okay.
Not all healthcare is medicinal also, there's holistic healthcare and different things that I would like to see us doing here in the Virgin Islands. But
Okay.
That also has to be done with outreach and education. But
Okay.
to speak on what you're saying, we are in a very scary situation with our healthcare right now, because none of our hospitals right now are actually to full capacity, meaning they're not 100% operational.
Yes.
Okay, none of them in the territory, point blank.
Okay.
Okay, and it's a very scary situation, because if some people or someone, God forbid, gets sick or whatever, or it's like a dire situation, more than likely they're going to have to be flown out of here.
Yes. Yes.
And that's technically what happens even when the hospital is actually fully operational.
Fully
There's
functioning.
certain things that they just can't do.
They can't deal with, yeah.
And we should be able to accommodate any need that comes up.
Yeah.
We have people just like people in the States.
Yeah.
We need to really invest in better facilities, like the cancer facility that we have right there in St. Thomas, next to the hospital.
Yeah.
That thing usually closes down, 2 or 3 times a year for whatever reason. Either it's an AC problem or this and that. And I used to work right across the street in the election system, so in my office I could see right across the street where it is.
Okay.
We used to have all these talks about it, like what's going on.
What's going on, yeah.
Like this is supposed to be the cancer institute here. And it's always closed.
Yeah. I got you.
But we do also need to look into other forms of treatment, like I don't know if you've heard about Live Doctor. It's sort of like with technology. So for people who are a little bit who don't have much finances, there's options online where you can pay a copay and have an actual doctor online speaking with you.
Yeah.
Just like streaming, like
Yeah.
sort of like a Facebook Live
Like a
or whatever, and they're
FaceTime, yeah.
FaceTime or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're checking your symptoms and so forth, and it's cheaper than going to a real doctor.
Okay.
I mean, who can beat a real doctor when
Yeah.
they're checking your pulse and things like that?
Yeah.
For people who can't afford or don't have insurance
Yeah.
or whatever, they might be able to pay a smaller fee to actually have a doctor assess what's going on with them. So
Okay.
there are other options out there. So some people don't actually have to go to a hospital or a clinic to be able to be seen by a doctor, in a sense.
Okay.
I do also believe that St. John needs a better facility. We only have a clinic
Yes.
on St. John, so I would
Yeah.
be pushing very hard to have a better facility there,
Yes.
if not a small hospital,
Yes.
which would include a birthing center.
Yes.
Because I believe St. Johnians are technically going on extinct. Okay, most of the people on St. John are not from St. John.
Yes.
I'm sure I haven't done the statistics yet, But in my family, only my brother, his name is Jose, he was born on St. John. The rest of us were born on St. Croix.
Okay.
But if it hadn't been for my mother going through what she went through, and thankfully she had a good birth and everything, she would have had to go to St. Thomas.
Yeah.
And let me tell you how that goes. Because
you guys have a boat, right? Like an ambulance boat?
that's right.
Yeah.
But listen to this, Mr. Christian. Tell me if this makes sense to you. A woman's water breaks. Okay? She rushes up to our clinic. They see her there. We don't have a birthing center. So then she has to wait until the clinic communicates with the hospital on St. Thomas to send over the ambulance boat. Regardless of what's going on, it could be a hurricane or whatever it is, raining or snowing or whatever.
Yeah.
She has to go drive in a car. Mind you, she drove in a car to the clinic. She has to go drive all the way into town, jump on a boat, and it could be a rough night, who knows.
Yeah.
And goes on an ambulance boat, speeds over to St. Thomas, jumps into an ambulance, and speeds over to the hospital.
It's a lot of time lost there.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
And God forbid, I hope, nothing does happen to anybody who's in labor right now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that why does a woman who's trying to have a baby, a child, have to go through so
many steps
just
to
to reach to a hospital?
Yeah.
I believe, if anything, a doctor needs to jump on the ambulance boat and come to St. John and deliver that child.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Or we need a birthing center in St. John so that we can accommodate these women who are in labor.
Yeah.
So I'll be pushing for that.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And again, St. Jonians are going to be extinct because all St. Jonians are being born on St. Thomas.
Yeah.
So, who knows, 50, 80, 90, 100 years from now, there will be no St. Jonians if they're not being born on St. John.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah.
And real quick, the one last thing I wanted to touch on here is mental illness. That's another big thing here, too.
Yeah.
People are just walking around aimlessly, just lost, confused, whatever it may be. And what are your thoughts on maybe getting a facility that can house the mentally challenged, the mentally ill, so they can get some treatment, get some structure in their lives, get them off the street. What are your thoughts on that, real quick?
We live in an interesting society. We have a facility where we could take dogs and cats off the streets, but we don't have one where we can take our mentally ill off the streets. So we have stray dogs and stray cats, and they pick them up, they bring them into the facility, they're taken care of, they're fed, they're housed, they're medicated in some instances. So we don't have we don't have it for our mentally ill. And it shows a lot about where we are in our society. So we should be doing that a long time ago. So
I got you.
I am in favor of that.
Okay. All right, man. So that does it. I'll give you maybe a couple of minutes to just sort of tell us who you are real quick and what you're going to do for us, and we'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Christian. For all that are listening, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate your time. I am Angel Bolques, your Senator at Large candidate for the general election of November 6, 2018. I will be pushing my platform, which includes education reform, housing development, economic development, workforce development, and capitalizing on our natural resources. I do believe that we're in a pivotal time right now, very critical, and we do need to take our time and find the right candidates for this legislature. From what I understand, we have about 5, maybe 6 more years before the GERS system crashes, and we need key individuals to fix that issue. Okay, we need individuals who are going to come forth and not with this whole arguing bangarang business, and actually take their time with patience and integrity and do what is right for the people of the Virgin Islands. We need people who are going to be patient with their colleagues and not fighting them down. We need individuals who are ready to make the hard choices, because some of the choices that need to be made are not the choices that career politicians are going to make. These choices are very difficult because we're in a difficult time. So please, again, take your time and find the right candidates for the job, whomever they may be. I do also have a Facebook page. If any of you are out there on Facebook, you could look me up. It's Angel Bolques Jr. You can go on there and find out a little bit more about me. I will also periodically be updating the page with what I'm doing throughout the campaign trail, which would also include all of my radio interviews. So if you're interested in hearing more about me, just stick on to the page, just make sure you like it or whatever, or just periodically just go on there and see what's going on so that you can see what my schedule looks like for my radio interviews, so that you can take a few minutes or an hour or whatever and learn more about me. If anyone wants to reach me, my phone number is 340-690-2555. You can call me, try not to call me after 11 because by then I'm trying to sleep. But I'm usually up around 7:30 in the morning.
You got long business hours, man.
Yeah. Around 7:30 in the morning, I'm having a little coffee, so you could call me then. You can catch me in the morning anytime.
Okay.
Call me at this number, 340-690-2555, or you can email me if you like. My email is Angel Bolques Jr. for Senate @gmail.com, and that's ANGEL BOLQUSJRFORSENATE @gmail.com, which is GMAIL.com.
Okay. What's your number?
340.
No, you're.
I'm actually running in the general election, so I'm not running in the Democratic primary.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an independent. So
Okay.
I'm an independent thinker, and I've chosen to be independent because, I prefer to take the best out of whatever it is around me and formulate a more positive.
The best solution,
best solution.
To get things fixed,
Yeah, so I'm an independent candidate, November 6th.
Okay. All right, so our guest tonight is Angel Bolques Jr. He is running for the Senate at large out of St. John. I want to thank you for coming into the studio tonight and sharing your platform with us. I just want to say real quick that this is the It's Your Perspective talk show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until. Tune in tomorrow night. We do have another guest lined up for the show. I know we're out. It's been a late night. Our in-studio guests here, they're giving me the evil eye, so I'm going to turn this stuff off so they can go home. All right, we're out. Peace.
All right, thank you.
Hey, ganja run the town, yeah. Ganja run the town, yeah. Bus pipe, sensi. Everyone not search for the good sensi. Humble county of the herbs plenty. As a plane land, it's an emergency. I feel load up the country urgently. Right now, Jamaica reap about 10-3. Fly past Babylon in a me M3. Circle Mr. Officer, just act like you no see. Ganja and grow for more than a century. Ganja heal the world and it's evidently. Legalize the herb and set the innocent free. Hey, cameraman, just start the